Okay, so not cut, but instead?
Ustate. Ustate.
Ustate. Happiness to you. Wonderful. Okay. That was a good one. It's very creative.
You're tuned in to Zoroverse.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Zoroverse. Today we're sitting in Jamshed Baug, built in 1859, many years before this, in Navsari. Today we have a very special guest with us on the show, who I'd like for her to introduce herself. Kimiya, take it away.
Hi, I'm Kimiya Shahzadi. I was born and raised in Melbourne, Australia, and the last 3 years I've lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Originally, my mum is from Iran, and my dad was born in Mumbai, and then further back he's also from Iran. So yeah, in a nutshell.
It's absolutely awesome to have you on the show today, and just for context, we are on day number 6 of the Zoroastrian Return to Roots. It seems like there's an interesting blend of both, you'd say like Parsi Zoroastrian and like Irani Zoroastrian in your cultural upbringing, and I'm super curious to hear more about that. Could you tell us a bit about how it feels like to be on a trip like this, with these two perhaps parallel identities that you're living, and how the trip has been so far for you?
Yeah, so the trip has been great so far. Amazing people to be with. Really happy I came. But this trip was a hard one for me to go on because, I had an abusive father and his family, and I associated them with where they were from, which is from, Mumbai in India, and the divorce court proceedings took 10 years of my life, in addition to everything we went through from when I was 12 to 22. So coming to the United States was kind of a new leaf for me, and I connected with people all over the US and Canada, which mostly were Parsi, and so that kind of healed that side that was wounded for me and repaired a lot of those negative feelings that I had. But this was just a next level of coming to the place where they're from and things like that. And but yeah, I had a friend who said I had to come, and there's just so many people I know that are here, and it made it so much easier, and I felt safe. And I'm like, if I'm ever going to do it again and I'm ever going to come back to India, this would be it, because I have been here before when I was 2 and 7 years old, and have some not great memories from there. I have one good memory, which was an ice cream store that I found out recently that actually belonged to my grandfather. I thought it was belonged to a relative of ours, but my grandfather actually gave the store to them. And and then I got to meet them, and they showed me around everywhere, and they acted like my grandmother and brought me ice cream even to the hotel and gave me free ice cream at the store, and K. Rostam's the ice cream shop, and so that was lovely. And I feel like I'm getting what I wanted from this trip and more, and it's been great. But it was just a bit of a hard one for me to start the journey on because of all that history I had before coming into it.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I know it takes a lot of courage, especially that we're talking to an audience that is worldwide. And I'm really sorry, and it's really difficult to even begin to imagine what you've been through. And the fact that you showed the courage and the perhaps generosity of spirit to be back here and to be able to experience these things. And I'm so grateful now for Return to Roots for being able to facilitate experiences that go much deeper than perhaps the average onlooker might seem them to be. And I'm so humbled by the fact that you chose to come here and re-understand things. And How has that understanding been? Has there been any specific memory during the Return to Roots trip so far? We're on day 6. Perhaps one from today, if you could walk us through what we got up to today and tell us about one memory that has changed your perception of Parsi India so far.
Big ask. Okay. So last night we had a debrief where everyone sat around in a circle and we all shared our experiences of the trip so far with each other. And I think it was maybe the first time quite a few people in the group maybe heard the story I just shared with you guys. And we got to hear each person's feelings, and the apprehension to come on this trip, or the fear, or the unknown, or will I even connect with anyone or anything? And that was really beautiful to hear each person's genuine feelings on it, and seeing everyone be vulnerable and trust each other and get closer was really nice. And people from all over the world are here, so that was lovely to experience. And we stayed up and we went to the Midnight Boy in Udvada. And the first night I did that as well. But my brother, who's also here with me, which I really appreciate that I'm not alone, he came with me, Kimiya Shahzadi, he wasn't there for the first night. He was feeling unwell, but he came on the second night. And I feel like that probably was my favorite memory, going to for the whole day, going together for the Midnight Boy. There's just some things we say to each other that make each other laugh, and to be able to do that about something so beautiful and sacred, and something that connects so deeply to our ancestors for so long. Not many people are going to get our jokes about that, but I think for the rest of our lives, we can talk about the Udvada boy that we went on. And there were actions, he was doing Dragon Ball Z actions with if he was a priest in there, and how he would bring up the fire and just create a theatrical show. And I was you would bring back Zoroastrianism, everyone would be coming to your temple if you were a priest. And it was just and he was just doing all these funny actions before and after, which was really funny. But that was a beautiful memory. And then this morning we got on a bus after eating breakfast, went and saw a new fire temple. Do you remember the name of it?
Yeah, it was the Navsari Atash Baram.
Navsari Atash Baram. What really was striking for me was how beautiful the garden was. Walking into it, it really was nice. I took a bunch of photos. I appreciated the symmetry, all the different plants and palm trees that were there. Everything was it was a manicured garden, which was gorgeous. Something that was more unique to this place than other places. And then we had a lovely lunch, and then went on this tour where we got to see where the first Tata grew up, his house and his journey and his story. And then we went to another museum, and we went to an amazing Zoroastrian ice cream store, and they didn't even charge anything for it, even though we wanted to pay. It was so good. It was sitting with a bunch of us, and we're trying all the different ice creams, and I appreciate that. Some of us ordered more, and we got to experience the different ones. So that was very nice.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it does add a level of memory, or a deeper level of memory when you experience this, not only with your friends and people that you've met, but also your own siblings. And I think that's a really wonderful thing to take back. Thank you so much for sharing. I wanted to transition the conversation towards another thing that we spoke about earlier this trip, which was your own Zoroastrian social initiative that you have come up with recently. And I don't know if you'd call it a business, but it seems like it's very community driven and worked on for the Zoroastrian community, and has come out as a product of your own experiences getting involved in the faith and in the community. So could you please share a little bit about that? I think a lot of people on the podcast are very, very curious to hear. I know that I've seen you on posting on the Zoroastrian Wealth talks on the chat that we have about your initiatives there. I know that in the 2023 Congress in London, you also had a session that was privately held within the City of London about, I think it was some kind of relationship building and connecting with your partner in some way. And yeah, I'm just really curious to hear more. So please share with us, Kimiya.
Yeah, of course. I'll jump into that. And another theme that is similar to that one is I'm also studying through the Iranian Mobed Council in Iran to become a mobedyar. And it's a very, very long process of studying so many different things, not just the Avesta. I have to learn Din Dabira, I have to read so many different books. And there's about 50 tasks to do before you graduate. And for a person who's born and raised in Iran, it takes them on average 7 years to just be an assistant mubed. And so for me, it's probably going to take longer because Persian is not my first language. And so I went to Persian school every Saturday for 10 years to even learn how to read and write and speak. So so I've started that journey, and my mission really is to, in the Gathas, it talks about men and women equally, and I want to see equivalent Mobed priests out there one day, hopefully in North America, and if no one's done it in the meantime, that's what I'm shooting for. So.
You're tuned in to Zoroverse.
And so you've heard a little bit about my story of kind of what kind of shaped my identity. So I've seen what love can look like when it goes wrong. I saw that with my parents. And so I wanted to make sure I did everything I could to get love right for myself. So I read every book I could on relationships and love, and I got my master's in psychology, specializing in relationships. I published papers in relationships that you can find on Google Scholar and read them if you're interested. And I am a huge believer in do what you preach. So I applied everything I learned, and I'm, happy to say that I'm happily married the last 5 years, and I really got to experience what love is like when you get it right. And it's a world of a difference, and it's really magical. And I want that for as many people as possible. And so, I just started helping my friends and family, and I came to America the last 3 years, and I was just gonna become a psychologist and do couples therapy. And then I realized in America, couples therapy usually isn't included in health insurance. And psychologists charge hundreds of dollars an hour, and they want you to come to at least 26 sessions. And the first 4 sessions are just assessment, and there's about a 50% dropout rate. And that's just ridiculous. It's so ineffective. We have so many effective ways to teach people relationship skills and help people, and that knowledge is getting bottlenecked and no one knows about it. And I feel like everybody should learn relationship skills because love is so amazing, and I want as many people to have it. And these are not hard skills to learn. It's just we don't get taught them in school, and unless you had incredible parents that are exactly like you, where else would you learn these skills from? So that kind of became my mission. And then I had so many Zoroastrians come up to me and say, do you hate being a Zoroastrian matchmaker? Like, watch Indian matchmaker, watch a Jewish matchmaker. And I watched those shows. And then I was like, I don't hate it. Like, I help people individually who reach out to me. But then I was like, look, if I was to do it systematically, how would I do it? And I got really scientific about it, put everything I knew, like all the knowledge I knew about relationships, into a system that can match people. And in London, I took a shot, and I kind of said I'm officially the Zoroastrian matchmaker now. And So since then, I've matched over 20 Zoroastrian couples, and it's a really effective system. Like once you find someone who's suitable to that level, it's so much easier for it to work out because you've gotten all the hard stuff out of the way at the beginning, and the attraction's there, and then the rest, is so much easier. And I'm always here as the support if you want, to learn those skills along the way. So, and then straight after Return to Roots is the World Zoroastrian Chamber of Commerce Conclave in Pune in India, and it's an in-person event. And they're having a Zoroastrian Shark Tank called Tiger's Den. And so, I'm really excited to have been shortlisted to pitch to the Tigers. And so, I'll be pitching to them to raise $100,000 to start the process of an app that can make it even easier for usability for young Zoroastrians wanting to find someone. This is also matchmaking for people that are not Zoroastrian. This can help everyone. The system isn't magically only set for Zoroastrians. But so there's a large market out there for this sort of thing. But my priority is if I can help the community first, we need it the most. So I think it's I'm really happy that I was able to do it, and it's such a important impact that it can have in our community.
You're tuned in to Zoroverse.
Do you think they noticed that we had a 1-hour dinner break in between the previous slide and this one? No? Okay, I think we can keep it a secret then. Awesome. So we did speak during dinner about your business further, and I was just so curious. There were so many questions popping in my head about how initiative like this is going to what's the way to measure its success, but also what's a way of measuring its effectiveness, because from the little psychology that I've studied in university, there's so many variables, and there's so many by chance things that we need to take care of. So if a Zoroastrian was looking for a partner, what could they expect to find on the version of your website and your version of the application that you're working towards? And what kind of confidence would it bring them to know that there are certain metrics through which their personality is being judged? And also are these general, or are they specific to different populations? So just so many curious questions.
So it is things that can be generalized to the wider population too. It's not just Zoroastrians. Obviously, for Zoroastrians, I can ask maybe one or two more targeted questions about what they're looking for. But in general, pretty much all of the questions apply to anyone, and it really is more scientifically based than anything else. So we are a religion that works hand in hand with science, and that's why I love it. Because we're very knowledge-based, and that's kind of how I've approached it as well. So from the process from start to end, when someone is interested, is they come to me, they might ask me some questions, they sign up, and then they fill in a detailed Google form that takes roughly about an hour to fill in. Some of the questions they have to type out. A lot of the questions are categorical, where they just select the one that identifies with them the most. And a lot of them are very practical questions, and a lot of them are uncomfortable questions that people avoid for a really long period of time, and then that break people apart later because they just avoid the conversation. So some typical ones are things there's the very classic ones. Some people want kids, some people don't. And some people just assume everybody wants kids. And so they don't talk about it, or someone's on the fence and they just let it slide, and then 3 years later, sometimes 11 years later, they're like, oh, this person isn't coming around, and they break up after 11 years. And then they have to start from scratch again. Or even people that have been together for a while, doing long distance and putting all this effort in, and then they realize that, hey, the other person is never going to move to you, and you are never going to move to them. And so what have you been doing this whole time? So, all the places you're willing to move to is addressed at the beginning. If you want kids, how many kids? Are you open to, adopting kids, not adopting kids, like IVF, so many things that can, someone might have fertility issues and they can only be with someone who's open to these things because that's the only option they have. And they might avoid having that conversation for a year because they're like, someone's going to leave me as soon as they find out. But it's like, we want the best matches at the beginning and all the hard conversations addressed. Yeah. So then the rest of your ride can be as smooth as possible. Like family is another one. For some people, they need family approval for the relationship to be successful. And some people are like, hey, even if my family disapproves of you or your family disapproves of me, I would still marry you. But for some people, they wouldn't. And then if you know their family is that important, then you want to meet their family as soon as possible to make sure that is all good and that you can kind of move forward smoothly. So there's so many different facets of it that are boiled down to the most important ones to address. And attraction's important at the beginning. So anyways, sorry. Fill in the preferences form. And then if I find someone else who kind of fits with what preferences you're looking for, I usually just send a photo and I ask them if they're attracted physically, like out of 10 usually. If something's over an 8 out of 10 or close to an 8 out of 10, I'll send the picture to the other person as well. And if it's high enough, then they exchange information. And only if they're physically attracted and they're happy with all the preference responses, that back and forth has happened, that they're okay to move to the next stage, then they start being able to text each other. And there's rules that I tell them about, for example, respond within 24 hours. Yeah. Don't ghost someone if you're not interested in them. Just tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, best of luck. It's as simple as that. So little things here and there, and then I'm here for that extra support along the way. If they're like, hey, what do I do in this situation? So that's kind of start to end, and it's a lifetime service I'm providing. So people pay once at the beginning, and then I just spend the rest of my life trying to find them until they find someone, and then I don't have to worry about them. So in terms of cost, it's really low for a lifetime service of someone trying to help you and their mission being aligned perfectly to yours. So yeah.
So it seems like the elephant in the room is this is a really, really cool way of getting people together, and it's psychologically based. The question is, where are we looking price-wise? And I think, as we discussed before, it's you have a few vague ideas in mind and you have a concrete number, and I think it's best if we allow the audience to reach out to you directly. And how would you feel about that? And how do you feel about someone viewing this and being interested? Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. Just message me, and we can go from there. Wonderful. Okay, awesome. I think with that we can move on to the final segment, the super short and super fun segment of our podcast series, which is the 72 questions from the 72 chapters of the Yasna. I think it's just a fun way to get to know someone and to get to know their beliefs in a way that is very targeted and quick. So I have a set of questions on my phone, and pick a number between 1 and 72, and I will give you a rapid fire question that you should try to answer in as few words as possible.
You're tuned in to Zoroverse.
Okay.
Kimiya, are you ready?
I'm ready. Favorite number, 27. Let's go.
27. This is a really interesting one. What is a teaching from Zoroastrianism that brings you deep comfort?
The abundance mindset.
Say more.
Don't say like as few words as possible.
I'm curious.
But I really like that, Ashu Zarathustra's philosophy is, excel at all the different areas of life, not just one. And so, a lot of people operate from a scarcity mindset that, I have to have, I have to spend all my time doing school or spending time with my family, and I can't have both, or I can't do this, and I can't be rich and be happily married, or all of these things that can limit ourselves. And his philosophy is, yes, you can have it all. Go for it and make it happen, and shoot for success, shoot for power, fame, all these things that are put down in Western society, because you can use it as a magnifying glass to expand the good that you do. So you can make so much more positive impact with those things at your disposal. It's not that money corrupts or things like that. Money reveals, or power reveals, fame reveals. And so if you are of good character, there's so much good you can do in this world. So don't shy away from it. Go for it.
I think that's really fascinating and really inspiring. Thanks for sharing. Shall we have another question?
Okay.
Yeah, hit me with a number.
47.
47, okay. What is the first thing one should know about being Zoroastrian? So, as yourself as being a Zoroastrian, what is the first thing you want to let someone know?
I don't know, everyone knows this, that's Zoroastrian, but the first thing for someone else, it would be the good thoughts, good words, good deeds.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, totally cool, awesome. Maybe 2 more questions?
Okay, let's do 50.
50. What is your favorite prayer and why?
It's Ashembo Yataiberia. I don't know if I have a favorite out of those two. I like both, each for different ways. One, Ashembo, who I like because, it really just emphasizes, like if you look at the meaning of what Ashembo means, the main thing it's trying to get across is that when you do the right thing, you're happy, and when you make other people happy, you're happy. And I think that alone is such a huge thing. Everyone's looking for happiness, and like there's your answer. And the other one emphasizes a little more on leadership and being there for those who are needy. And so I like that for those reasons too. But yeah, random fun fact, I sang Ashembo Yataiveru when I was 3 years old on stage, because my mom made me like memorize it, and she yeah. So,
where was this?
In Melbourne, in Australia.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is a fun fact. Really cool. Let's wrap up with a final question, I think.
A final question?
Yeah, just any number that you'd like.
72.
72. Oh dear. All the way down. Wonderful. If you had one message for the ultra rich in the world, what would it be?
Power reveals. Please do good.
I actually really like that quote, and I think it's going to be one of the key things in the title or in the description of our podcast. So it was so wonderful talking to you, Kimiya.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing this again. We need more people like you, and we need people taking initiative and doing amazing things. So thank you for doing this.
It's absolutely my pleasure, and it's not just me. It's a team of people that we've met at Return to Roots, and literally it's just me carrying a camera around, and I'm just recruiting and like requesting my friends. And one of our friends is Fravash, who has like taken on this like baby like it's his own. Fravash, come in the camera, please. And thank you so much for like helping us out. I just interviewed Fravish first, and since then he's been like, I'm going to help you out in any way possible. And you have done that, and like you've taken out from the trip, and we're all sleepy and we're all tired, but thank you so much for making this.
Thank you, Mirwan. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Enjoy and keep watching.
Say something else.
No, that's all. It's really a pleasure to have so many people in one trip like this. You know, Kimiya, it's for us. It's just we have so many people with so much experience in our Zoroastrian religion and in our culture, and like it's really rare when we go back to our cities. So it's nice that we have this and we have this opportunity to interview so many like interesting individuals. But you know, when we dig deep enough, everyone is an interesting individual. So there's many more to come. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Cheers.
That was good.
Cheers. All right. Don't end it just yet, because you haven't told us the name of your matchmaking service. So you mentioned it while we were having dinner, but not on camera.
Yes, it's called Love Story.
Love Story. Wonderful. Thank you. Awesome. Yay!
You're tuned in to Zoroverse.